This is another iRaw podcast.
Bison don't run away from storms, they walk straight into them. And then I realized I've been standing on the edge of my own storm for way too long, and I need to change that. I'm going to collect 1,000 rejections.
Welcome to Wildly Unplug, sharing stories of nature, conservation, and creativity. Discover what develops when you unplug and step outdoors.
Now, before I jump into today's episode, I want to start with a quick warning, especially for my fellow artists, creatives, and honestly, anyone that puts their work out there into the world. Earlier this week, I got scammed. And it didn't happen because I was naive or careless. Well, I guess I was kind of careless. I was tired. I woke up on Monday morning. I'm already reaching for my phone before I even got out of bed, before I even fully woke up. We had a few late nights, and my son woke me up early one morning. I was groggy, things were blurry, and I was not thinking clearly yet. And then I saw an email. It looked like it was from the Cincinnati Coffee Festival, and it had a Google Drive link with an artist proposal. Now, here's the thing. I hadn't submitted anything this year, but I did in 2024. And I know some events will sometimes reuse past submissions, so nothing really felt off. And I felt really excited that maybe I got accepted and they wanted my work for this year. Now, the email looked right, the logo was right, the website was right, even the name was spelled correctly. The only thing that was off was that the email address wasn't from the correct domain, but I did not catch it. I clicked the link. It directed me in a weird way and it bumped me into another one of my emails. And then something kind of felt off. And I reached out and I said, hey, I don't know if this was for me, but the link isn't working. And then I waited a few hours. And then I finally went to the official website and contacted them directly. Sure enough, it was a phishing scam. So I want to say this clearly. If you're an artist, your name and your email are out there. You are a target. And these scams are getting good, like scary good. They look real, they feel real, and they use things that you've actually done in the past. And honestly, if I had just taken a breath that morning, if I had not grabbed for my phone first thing, if I would have opened my Bible like I said I was going to do instead of my phone first, it would have given me just enough time to maybe wake up and maybe I would have caught it. So here's a few things that you can do to protect yourself. Always double check the sender's email address, not just the name of the address, like verify it on their official website and make sure that that is the correct address. If something feels even slightly off, again, go to the official website, not a link from the email, but one that you have typed into the browser yourself. Don't click links when you're tired, rushed, or distracted. Don't give anybody any of your information, especially bank account information, social security numbers, any of that kind of stuff. And give yourself space before reacting to anything urgent. And if you do click on something or think you might have, there are things that you can do. Change your passwords immediately, turn on two-factor authentication whenever you can, and just take it seriously, even if you are not sure anything happened. It's always better to be overly cautious than wish you would have done better. Here's another thing that this brought up for me: burnout. When I submitted that art piece 2 years ago, I was already stretched thin and I didn't really get excited about that submission. And I did it because I thought it would be good exposure. So it's something we don't really talk about enough as artists. Contests and submissions, they can quietly drain you. I have spent enough time on past entries thinking, push through, this is good exposure, and then nothing. Not even a response from the company saying thank you for your submission or that we've gone somewhere else. No acknowledgement, no closure. And here's my honest take, and it might be a little spicy. If you're asking artists to include logos, dates, QR codes, and full design work, you're not just asking for art, you're asking for a graphic designer, and that is something that deserves to be paid. At the very least, there should be better recognition for submissions. Maybe you give 10% off to the show that this thing is for, and then you can showcase all the artists, and it gives your guests something else to see too. You get a gallery of these items, and maybe you get future artists that think, hey, I could do this next year. Offering small stipends or creating real opportunities beyond just exposure. I mean, otherwise, we're just doing this for free work. We're all trained artists. We put our time, effort, energy, our hearts, our soul. We pay for the supplies. It takes time out of things we could have otherwise been doing. And sometimes these contests can be really difficult. My suggestion is, if you do a contest or some sort of contest submission, make sure it's something you're really passionate about and really excited about. Maybe you can use that piece of artwork for something else. Maybe a gallery, or you can sell prints or something like that. But you will find yourself quickly burnt out if you just do it for the possibility of exposure. I did do a contest this week, and it was for a sea turtle conservation group. I love sea turtles, as evidenced by my logo. So it is a piece that I am excited to use in other things if I don't happen to get accepted. And the rules for this one were super laid back. They weren't asking for a bunch of extras. So I felt totally comfortable and confident going into this contest. So be picky about where you're choosing to spend your time. Now, where do scams and burnouts all connect? Well, I am pursuing 1,000 rejections. Yes, in the same week where I got scammed. And I feel like this could lead to burnout. So I want to be super careful about that. And I also want to be careful about being scammed. So I wanted to preface this about the scams and the burnout before I dive into talking about 1,000 rejections, because I feel like I am on the precipice of something utterly and completely life-changing. There was a time in my life when I felt the most alive. And it wasn't when everything was going right, and it wasn't when I had everything figured out. It was just saying yes to things that I had no business doing. I was part of a podcast with a group of friends, and every week we would choose a new challenge, something uncomfortable, unexpected, and sometimes ridiculous. And we didn't just talk about life, we lived it, and we tried to help others in guiding them to do so as well. And we tried things I never imagined that we would do. Fire eating, motorcycle riding, 5 minutes of stand-up comedy in an actual comedy club in front of an audience. And somewhere in all of that, something shifted. I started reaching out to people, hundreds of them, asking if they would come on the show. I mean, I was asking everyone, authors, adventurers, actors, scientists, people I've admired from afar, and most of the time there was silence. Sometimes there was a no, but every once in a while there was a yes. And in those yeses, there was magic. We had conversations with people that I never thought we'd have access to. People like Mary Alice Monroe, my favorite author who wrote The Beach House, the women from Queen of Your Own Life. That's right. Mimi from the Drew Carey Show is part of Queen of Your Own Life. Jessie Krebs from Alone, and so many others. And it wasn't because I was qualified or because I was ready. It was just because I asked. And what I learned during that time wasn't just about the people who said yes. It was about who I was becoming in the asking. Even when things didn't go perfectly, especially when they didn't, I was learning, I was growing, I was connecting. I was becoming someone who was moving toward life instead of waiting for it. And somewhere along the way, especially in the last 3 years, I've changed. I've started becoming careful, especially with my art. It's because art is different. Art is personal. It is a piece of you. And when you put that out into the world and it gets rejected, it doesn't just feel like a simple no. It feels like you were rejected. So I started protecting myself. I've been submitting less. I've been asking less. And I've been avoiding the no altogether. Even with my current podcast, Wildly Unplugged, that you're listening to now, thank you very much, I realized that most of the guests came from that momentum that I had built from my previous podcast. And a lot of those asks were from a couple years ago. And I've slowly stopped putting myself out there and doing as many episodes, hence the slower output and also some life changes recently. And in doing that, I started avoiding the yes. Today, I saw something that stopped me in my tracks. It was a young girl named Gabriella Carr, and she's on a mission to collect 1,000 rejections. And when I saw her latest video, she had over 200 rejections and around 30 yeses. 30. And some of those yeses were things that she never even imagined for herself. Not because she was special or because she was lucky, it's because she asked. And it hit me in a way that I hadn't expected. I tell my son all the time, you never know until you ask. What's the worst they're going to say? No. And somewhere along the way, I stopped living that myself. So I'm changing it right now. I'm not going to avoid rejection anymore. I'm going to run towards it. Actually, no. I'm going to do something even better. I'm going to become the bison. Bison don't run away from storms. When there's a storm, they turn and walk directly into it, straight through the heart of it, because they know the fastest way out is through. I have been standing on the edge of my own storm for too long, the edge of my own success. The life I say I want, but haven't fully stepped into. So this is my decision. I'm going to collect 1,000 rejections, not as punishment, not as proof that I'm failing, but as a way to desensitize myself to fear, to remember what it feels like to try, to open doors that I don't even know exist yet. Because if there's one thing I know to be true, it is this. The more that you ask, the more chances you give to the world to say yes, the more yeses you'll get. So this is me stepping forward, not as someone who has it all figured out, not as someone who isn't afraid, because not too long ago, I was afraid to reach out. Now, I'm excited to start collecting no's. Yeah, I'm a sucker for a challenge. And by framing this as a challenge, everything changes. Even a no seems like a win because it counts. It keeps me moving forward, and it means that I showed up. So here are the rules that I have set for myself. It has to make me uncomfortable. There has to be a real possibility of no. Most asks will be connected to my artwork and creative life, but I'm leaving room for a little fun and curiosity too. I'm tracking everything. Ashley Hackett over at Thoroughline on Substack. I'll tag her in the podcast so you can check out her Substack. She has an amazing tracker, and I'm adopting that to my challenge. I'm going to do weekly check-ins on social media to share where I'm at and hopefully inspire others. And I'm going to do at least 10 asks each week. And at least 50 of these are going to be bold. I can't believe I even asked that to that company or that person kind of request. And when I've reached 1,000 no's, I am celebrating big. I don't know what yet, but I'll figure that out later. And this isn't just about the numbers. What I'm hoping for is something deeper. I want to learn how to handle rejection without shrinking, to stop taking it personally, to see that it isn't a dead end, it's direction. I want this to lead me toward the kind of life that feels expansive and alive, towards my artistic goals, brand partnerships, collaborations, grants, opportunities I can't even imagine yet. I don't need to go viral, but I do kind of want to be known as the nature art girl, someone that people turn to for inspiration, for creativity, for connection. I want someone to say, because of you, I tried. Because of you, I see things differently. And most of all, especially with my artwork and with animals and the environment, I want people to say, because of you, I care. I'm going to cry because before recording this, I saw a video of a man in Key West that shot a rooster because he couldn't sleep. and you see the rooster struggling on the pavement and blood splattered all around. I mean, that was a beautiful animal that didn't deserve that. Roosters are a part of what make Key West so magical. And I'm hoping that it's not because of the evil in this man's heart. I'm hoping it's just because he's, I don't know, misdirected, misguided. There are so many instances that I see all the time where I feel like we need to learn how to coexist with nature better. Going outside is beautiful. Having an encounter with an animal is a most amazing thing, and we don't do enough to protect Mother Earth. Mother Earth. Oh, off on that side note. Most of all, I want to start fantasizing an amazing life for myself again, because we all deserve that. I don't have to settle for a routine. I can choose curiosity. I can choose courage. I can choose to step into something new. So this is me becoming the bison, walking straight into the storm. It's time to become wildly rejected.
Wildly Unplugged podcast is a production of Wild Development Studio. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by individuals during Wild Development Studio's productions do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wild Development Studio or its affiliates. Participation in any activities, expeditions, or adventures discussed or promoted during our content may involve inherent risks. It is strongly advised that individuals conduct thorough research, seek professional guidance, and take all necessary precautions before engaging in such activities or venturing into wilderness areas. Wild Development Studio, its representatives, or employees shall not be held responsible for any injury, loss, damage, accident, or unforeseen incident that may occur as a result of participating in activities inspired by or discussed in our content. By choosing to engage with our content or act upon any information provided, individuals do so at their own risk and discretion.
For more great iRaw podcasts, visit irawpod.com. That's IROARPOD.com.